31497.
Welcome back. An update now on the situation in Fallujah, where Iraqi forces are slowly gaining ground against ISIS.
The army has detained, we're told, about 1,000 men that they suspect of being ISIS members or sympathisers. They're part of a flood of people who have tried to escape the city.
The International Organisation for Migration says from May 22nd to June 13th, it registered more than 43,000 displaced people from Fallujah. And that's raising concerns about a humanitarian crisis.
Now, earlier we asked the head of the Médecins Sans Frontières mission in Iraq where these people are seeking refuge.
The humanitarian situation that we do witness there is extremely concerning. Medical services, water, sanitation, it's not definitely adequate to the needs of the people coming, knowing that those camps were already populated by people who had fled previous crises, for example, the battles which are taking place in Ramadi. And today we do have medical teams on the ground providing basic care, and with the idea, of course, to start very soon from offering mental health services, knowing that people who have fled Fallujah, of course, they've been under siege for months, they've been suffering from lack of food, medications, proper water, and therefore we do see the importance to address urgently the medical and the mental health needs of this population.
It's such a raft of issues that you've outlined there. I mean, you're talking about no adequate water, no adequate sanitation, people with diabetes and high blood pressure not being able to get their medications. Are you worried about outbreaks of disease in that sort of situation? What is the urgent need?
Of course, we are extremely worried about epidemics or outbreaks breaking out, because basically where water and sanitation and therefore the level of hygiene is not adequate, it's very likely, particularly now that we are approaching very high temperatures in Iraq, that outbreaks like cholera could happen. We don't have to forget that already an epidemic of cholera happened last year in Iraq, near Baghdad as well as in the south, and therefore having more and more and actually hundreds of families coming on daily basis with no proper water and sanitation definitely can heighten very much the risk of epidemics like cholera to break out.
And talk to us about the damage to children. No doubt they're already missing out on education, lack of nutrition, and the psychological damage.
That's precisely one of the main points we try to address. As I was saying before, mental health is activities that we try to systematically integrate in the health package that we offer, knowing that the most vulnerable categories, normally represented by children and women, are definitely in need of psychosocial support and psychological aid. So this is something which we are trying to start as soon as possible, also for the displaced families coming out from Fallujah. In terms of nutrition, we have had reports from people fleeing Fallujah that for the last few months they haven't been able to of course, to have a proper diet, to have proper food. Some were telling our teams having eaten only dates. So definitely that's something that is already done in other parts of Iraq, for example, south of Kirkuk, etc. We will look at very closely and seeing if any intervention in terms of malnutrition, etc., would be required to be put in place by our teams.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you too, the situation militarily, it seems that it's slow going for the Iraqi military around Fallujah, because what they're trying to do is starve the city, strangle it to hit ISIS in that way, but you've still got people inside the city who would be also impacted, not to mention the military's moving to Mosul. They're going to do the same thing up there, try to isolate the city with a large civilian population. Are you worried about the people still inside those places?
Clearly, we do know, I mean, it's clear that there are still thousands of people blocked, trapped in Fallujah, which, because of the military operation taking place, because of the siege, because also of the impossibility to move, are still there and in very dire condition and situation. Of course, the security situation does not allow humanitarian organization to be able to reach as Fallujah. But we do call for making sure from all the parties that there will be always a possibility for people to safely flee the city, and therefore having those who today are still blocking the city coming out and potentially having the possibilities to have access to a certain degree of humanitarian assistance.
Doing great work there along with other aid organisations, and thanks to you. Fabio Forgione, you're with Doctors Without Borders in Baghdad. Our thanks.